Hi, it's Alaska Granny. One of the strategies that I have for stockpiling and storing food is to take several meals worth of foods that all have about the same expiration date and store them together in a grab-and-go meal emergency bucket. These are just shelf-stable foods that you can buy at the store, but you could easily know how to make a meal out of them no matter what your circumstances. They're mostly open and eat foods like chili, beans, peanut butter, simple things that you need to just heat up and make a meal, like an instant rice, instant mashed potatoes, pastaroni, some of them that just add water and you can make a meal. The reason you want most of these items to have the same shelf life, expiration date, use by date, that's when you know you need to use the food items. You don't want to put something that would expire in 1 year and the other things expire in 7 years and leave it for 7 years, or part of your food could be spoiled. So if you make them approximately the same age, use it around the date of the expiration of the earliest item, and your food is probably all going to be fine and fresh and useful. An item to make sure you have so that you can access the food in your buckets is a bucket lid wrench. These can be very difficult to open, and if you can't get your food bucket open, how are you going to eat the food? You don't need the frustration of you can't access it when you're hungry. On top of the food bucket, I always include things like paper plates, a few items of silverware, and a can opener. Today I'm going to prepare a simple one-pot pantry pasta from foods that came out of my bucket. You could also have these items in your pantry and in your food storage, and then it's an easy meal to make just from things that are shelf-stable and you have on hand. At our house we like to call them cheap, fast, and filling, yet delicious. So try this one-pot pasta and see if your family enjoys it. 16-ounce package of pasta, any shape. 12 to 16 ounces of salsa, a can of black beans drained, a can of corn drained, and a can of chicken broth. You could use a vegetable broth if you prefer to make this a vegan option. Boil the noodles and drain them. Then add your salsa, your beans and corn, and your chicken broth. Warm it thoroughly and serve it into bowls. It's great with some shredded cheese as a topping if you have some of that. Make sure that you're putting away food for your family and find ways to rotate it so that it makes sense and you'll still have the foods that you need no matter what comes your way. Learn more at AlaskaGranny.com. Please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel. Sounds like an earthquake. Another good reason to be prepared.